love me, we were so good, kiss my ass, you know, we're God's greatest gift to earth.
You know, they'll never let you forget the fact they won a championship.
Yeah, but I mean, they're a good team, but they're not like, you know, they think like they're like, oh my God, they're puck buddies reincarnated. They're not. I mean, they're a good team. They're a good red team, but nothing special. I've seen 5 of the champions are better than Bloodline Warriors. You know what I mean?
5?
Probably 6.
I don't know. Oh crap! Oh, it's recording.
We'll edit this part out.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, we're back here with our PTS segment here. Sean McGurby, GM Suds, referee Suds, Commissioner Suds, what do you want to call myself? I'm here.
Jason Stitcher here.
Yeah, camera just broke, by the way.
That's okay. We'll dip into the DCHL slush fund for that.
Yeah, what fun that is. We're here with Jason, who asked some questions for me as a referee. So here I am as a referee Suds. So go ahead, Jason. What question do you have for me? Help explain and understand our rule book of the referee section.
Yeah, clarification needed on a couple things as we saw the past 2 weeks. Number one thing, when is intentional offsides ruled? Now, for those of you who don't know, offsides generally, when it's called, is generally, the face-off is generally taken just outside the zone, but there are instances where it's ruled intentional offsides, and it will go all the way back to the offending team's defensive zone. What are the instances this will happen?
Okay, number one, it's our rule book, by the way. I encourage everybody to read the rule book. We spent hours and hours on it with video clips from the NHL as well, too, so it's a very detailed rule book we have out there. The number one reason we have intentional offsides is if you're offsides and you shoot on net and the shot goes on net. A goalie's forced to make a save. If you're offsides with a shot that goes on net and a goalie's forced to touch the puck out there, it's automatically ruled intentional offsides. The draw will always go back into your defensive zone. Case number one. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Case number 2.
Well, it's clear to us. It may or may not be clear in actual game time, but continue.
Yeah, number 2 is if we as referees give you enough warning that you're offsides, and you, for whatever reason, choose to take a chance, gamble, or whatever, and still become offsides, it's the referee's discretion to call it intentional offsides, which means, in our opinion, you were given fair warning that you're going to be offsides or that you are offsides, and you still chose to bring the ball in the zone, in our opinion, unnecessarily delaying the game. Therefore, the face-off will go all the way back into your defensive zone. Case number 2.
So you could, the refs continue to yell off, and they don't see the player coming back. Then it can be ruled intentional.
If we're yelling off 3 times and you can hear it, and you bring the ball in the zone, that means you're choosing to ignore our call of being offsides. That to me is deliberate offsides, clear cut. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. This happens a few times as well too, where a player's trapped in the zone, and the guy sees the player's coming back. He's coming back. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to time it correctly. He's coming back. I'm going to time it correctly where he gets back on sides, I get back on sides. But then they fail. Okay, they fail. You're gambling knowing that he's offside. You're hoping he's offside. So when you gamble and you lose, intentional offsides. Which means you knew that player was offsides, but you were gambling, got back in time. He didn't. Because he didn't, you pay the price. Go back into the zone.
Right. So
3 case scenarios where you have intentional offsides.
So the first scenario, pretty clear cut. If you're offsides and you take a deliberate shot on goal, it's going to be called back every time. The
second goal, offsides are back and always defensive.
The second 2, a little subjectivity involved, but again, the referees have that discretion. That is totally within their power to call that.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then the third, obviously, is you're gambling to get it back on sides, but you lose the gamble. You know that you're probably going to win the race, but for some reason you lose the bet. You lose the bet, you take the risk, you now got to pay the price. Go back to this as well too.
Absolutely.
Now there are times when the referee yells off and off and off, but we can see a player clearly does not know. I mean, or a referee yells off one time, or a player or referee just doesn't yell off at all. You can't hear the referee yell offsides, but a player is clearly trapped. For whatever reason, the player couldn't see it, couldn't reasonably assume that his teammate was offsides. In those cases, we probably won't call it offsides. So basically, there are scenarios where if we feel the player had no opportunity or no chance or no possible reasonable expectation his team was offsides, we will then not call it offsides.
So the key word here, and correct me if I'm wrong, is intent. If you are intending to stay offsides for the sake of making a play, that is when it's ruled intentional. But if you just clearly don't hear it or you don't realize that your team has been called called offsides,
Correct.
that is when it is not ruled intentional.
That's correct. And number fourth case is very, very important, is if we keep yelling off, a ball's dumped in the zone, the player's trapped coming offside. That trapped player touching the ball in the opposite zone automatically makes it intentional offsides. If you're a trapped player and your defensive player or offensive player or your teammate puts the ball into your zone and you choose to play the ball knowing that you're offside, or if it touches you even unintentionally, it's going to go back in your zone. Because the reason is you were already trapped in, the ball touched you, whether it was intentional or not, it's going to go back in your zone. Those are the case scenarios where we have intentional offsides. We're calling more of that this season as well too. The referees are getting better and better about that, and I think it's working out very, very well. So keep that in mind. There is some subjectivity to it. That's correct. I think the referees are pretty good about that though. And we probably urge the air of caution. There are times I thought I should have been called intentional offsides. We didn't even get the benefit of the doubt. It's clear cut. We're going to call it that. Right. Questions on that?
Absolutely. So the offsides rule clarified somewhat. Hybrid icing rule, I know, is a hot topic in the DCHL. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, the 6 instances where hybrid icing is waived off is in the rule book. You can look on the rule book and find them out, but just very briefly, can you please give us a synopsis, referee Suds, on these 6 instances?
You put me on the spot here. I mean, I've had college cricket, but number one is if a shot goes on goal on crease, if it's in crease, waved off. Waved off. If it was an attempted pass where the player that's supposed to receive the pass had a reasonable chance to get the pass but missed it, waved off. 3, defender not hustling, making the effort. Okay, I'm not gonna run. You have to hustle. You gotta assume the play is still normal hockey. If you forget to make the effort, waved off. Deflection. If it deflects in the neutral zone or the opposite zone before it gets out of the neutral zone area, it's waved off. Deflection waved off. Short-handed. Obviously, for short-handed. Is waved off as well too. Those are 5. I'm missing one right now.
If the goaltender comes out to play.
Yeah, I think that's part of the goaltender. There's one I'm missing one.
I think if you cross the imaginary line
the race.
in front of the
biggest one. If you win the race square, basically there's a race that the face-off dot in the opposite zone. Those 2 dots connect and make an imaginary line. If, in the opinion of the back official, which is the one who actually makes the icing call, and again, I want to make sure people understand that icing is made by not one official, it's a combination of 2 officials. The front official, who's the back of the defensive zone, makes it eligible. He's like, oh, the ball cleared the zone and no one touched it. It's not eligible to be icing. He raises his hand, icing. The front official down into the zone, then okay, it's icing eligible. Now, is it icing or not? They look for a race. Is there a race? If a race is won, in their opinion, clearly by a couple of feet or whatever may be out there, clearly won by the opposite team, icing is waved off. If it's a tie or close, goes to the defender and icing is called. And it's a race to the face-off circle dot. And it's not blown at that time. It's a race to that dot, but the ball has to also cross behind the goal line. Combination of the race to the dot and the ball across the goal line. That's what, and it's very hard because we only have 2 officials. People don't say that. I think we get it right about 95% of the time out there. There are times we get it wrong, I'm sure, and there are times it's close. But I think that it's hard for officials. We have no linesmen out there. We have 2 officials. We got to do eligible. He has to look at my eyes with less than half a second. Oh, it's eligible. Okay, now is there a race? The ball crossed the yellow line, the goal line. Who won the race? It's a very quick, bam, bam call. I've told the officials, take your time. Either be right and make a late call, then 2 late calls as well too. Tough call, but that's how hybrid works for us.
And I think the biggest confusion is one of the earlier points you mentioned is if the defender just gives up, because I think that's where the confusion goes, where they say, well, the defender was there. Why did you wave it off? Key to that to me is just hustle every time, folks.
Absolutely.
As long as you're hustling every time, you'll get the call 99% of the time. But if you give up or if you assume it's going to be icing, then that just gives the refs a little bit more leeway to make that subjective call to wave it off.
It's a great point as well to number 1. You got to keep hustling number 1. It's very, very important. 2 quick points on that. Okay, the pace of the ball is a factor. People say it is a factor. The ball isn't going that fast or slow. In our opinion as referees, you could have got that ball. So pace is a factor. Don't say it's not. It is a factor. You take the consideration. The ball's too slow. You could have hustled and made the ball out there. You didn't hustle. Pace is too slow. You're way by icing off. That's a factor. Number 2 factor as well too, when it comes to icing in general, is always make sure that if you have hybrid icing out there, is to make the effort. You want to see effort played out there. Play the whistle. Don't assume it's icing. Play the whistle is very, very important as well too. So those are the things we look for as an official as well too.
Right. One more quick question, because we're running over 10 minutes now. Why does referee Suds wear the helmet? What was the impetus for that decision?
And it's basically number 1. If you ever watch our league play last season, the level of speed, intensity, power, energy, and physicality has increased probably tenfold. It's only a matter of time. Somebody's stick is going to hit a referee's face, referee's nose, a ball directly in the face. It happened to be already at 1 signal already. Why take that chance? It's only a matter of time. It's going to happen. So why not protect yourself as a referee and wear the helmet as well too?
Right, and with
and you know what? We have guys in the face-off draw. I get hit. You don't understand as referees. I get hit so often in my shins and my knees and my legs. My face-off guys going back. They don't know how. These guys are NHL people. They're taking face-off and going like this. It's very poor technique out there. They're not NHL players, and as referees, we get killed in the face-off zone as well too.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Sorry, Neil, for that face-off earlier in the Greenback Boogies game. Didn't mean to whack you there.
We get whacked all the time.
Yeah, but you bring up a good point about pucks coming to the referee's face, especially with all the trash talking against the Washington Capitals that referee Suds does. He's got a target on his back, so probably a good move wearing the concussion-proof helmet. I'd like to thank referee Suds
Safety
here.
is important. Safety is number 1 priority.
Yep. So I'd like to thank referee Suds here. This has been Referee's Corner. Thank you very much for tuning in, folks.